So hello to everyone. It's really great to see so many people coming in. Quite sure that some more will come. It's only 1 and 2 minutes now. People are having their lunches throughout Europe. But it's really wonderful to see some of the very familiar faces, but also some new faces. I think one of the things we can do for the new faces that we have here, very welcome to all, is to mention who we are in the chat maybe, so that people can, while we are speaking, also have a look at, okay, Milda, Christina, where are you working? What are you doing? And this is one way of networking. So as you know, we are the European Network of Focal Points. It's not only focal points that are here, it's a European network of implementing the UNESCO 2003 Convention in Europe. So there's also several actors that are working closely together with this coordination with the focal points. These can be facilitators in some countries. It's NGOs working closely together. And it's interesting to see how we can exchange our experiences or work together, and we take initiatives for that. Lena will open the meeting, so I happily pass on the word to Lena.
I will officially open the meeting of us dear colleagues coming from all corners of Europe. It's really such a pleasure to meet you all. I had the nice chance to meet some of you in Kazan in the last committee meeting, but it is almost as wonderful to see you all online here. It's been wonderful to follow how our network has been developing. It's 3 years now that we've been in existence, or almost. I think it was March 2021 when we had our first meeting. Didn't remember to catch up how many we were on that day, but maybe some 60, 70 people or something came in. And so we have really seen there is a need to come together. And so I personally have been working now as the focal point for 10 years. And I remember on those first years, I was so much missing for more colleagues. And instead of just going to UNESCO meetings and hearing those agendas, I've really felt that we have the need to discuss and share and learn. And that is what we've been now doing for those 3 years. But indeed, we now reach to around 120, I think, getting close to 130 colleagues from 46 countries. We are a smallish team of the steering committee who have been working hard for this. And I think we meet almost like every second or every third month to organize. So it's Ioana Baskerville from Romania, Esther Xonkatakas from Hungary, Mirela Hrovatin from Croatia, Naira Kilician from Armenia, Jore Nering from Belgium, Elena Sinibaldi from Italy, Benedetta Ubertazzi from Italy, and then Nikolai Vuko from Bulgaria, and then myself. And I just want to say that it's really fun to work with you. We are all doing this voluntary or as besides our own work, but I think we are really motivated to work for the common cause, and we learn and have fun at the same time we're doing it. I guess quite many of us are now living in the past anniversary phase. So I think we were all really busy last year organizing different kind of things, and good to now breathe deep in the early stages of 2024. And in this meeting, we're going to look a bit backwards, what happened last year, especially with the Wikilab's Living Heritage, and then also look forward with the Article 18 and its work. And we're also going to tell you a bit about what we've been thinking, what will happen in during 2024. But without further ado, I'd like to give the floor to Nikolai and or Mirela to tell a bit about the communications related to our European network.
Hello, you can hear me, I suppose. I'm really very happy joining the meeting and just seeing you via the screen, seeing this vibrant community of colleagues and people interested in the stuff we're doing and just contributing so much to our joint mission. Within this wide topic of communication, just throwing a glance backward to the previous year, we have many things to feel extremely happy with as having accomplished. And alongside the website already and the Face group network, also we have the achievement of the newsletter, periodical newsletter, which we managed to maintain for over the entire 2023 with 4 issues appearing every 3 months, and this was a very nice opportunity for members of the network to just share the extremely rich and diverse work that you all have been doing in the sphere of intangible cultural heritage, with different tracks of events, of publications, of projects that are being developed, and forthcoming activities, etc. We have very recently, just this is a very fresh news, and you have received it, the first issue for the current year, issue number 5. And thank you very much for all contributors of all the issues, and particularly for the last one. Warm welcome to all of you who would wish to contribute for the following issues. The next one for this year will have a deadline of submitting materials in the middle of April. So until around the end of April or early May, we would launch the next issue. Saying this, just I forgot to say that being a spokesperson is really an honor, saying this on behalf of several colleagues who worked in dedication to making this possible. So last but not least, but really the primary importance, the contributions and joint efforts of Mirela and Ioana, but also Christine Moyer and Cristina Bozetto, and with the support of all the ENFP steering committee and Jorin and Lina, of course. So without taking more time of it, just warm welcome to present your work, extremely important and extremely colorful and contributive to this, to our mission. So looking forward.
Thank you, Nikolai. Sure, Mirela.
Hi, just to support Nikolai and all the team of the whole network. We are so great that it actually works, and there's a lot of effort going on behind the closed scenes, as we already have experienced. But in the chat, we have shared now the link for our next newsletter. I hope you received all the last one. And feel free to write to us and share any activities that you have on safeguarding of ICH. So welcome all the new members and the new UNESCO facilitators, and we are open for future cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirela from sunny Croatia. Really nice blue sky. Okay, I think we then go forward in the program. And we'll start our first part, which will deal the Wiki Loves Living Heritage campaign. And I will ask Jorain and then also Susanna Ones from the Avoin Glam organization to step in with me. And thank you, Susanna, for sharing those slides. Okay, a year in retrospect. A lot of work has taken place in many countries. The idea of the Wiki Loves Living Heritage came up sometime in late summer 2022, when Vicky Loves Monuments was such a big thing. And I thought, monuments, why always the monuments? Couldn't we maybe here talk now about living heritage, as we have the anniversary coming up and all that? And so the role started working, and we were able to collect a wonderful pack of activities taking place actually in all continents. We were launching the event in March 2023, together with Focal Point's European Heritage Days coordinators, who were also celebrating their the Heritage Days under the theme Living Heritage for the first time ever, and then also with several Wikimedia affiliates and organization groups. So for us, it's really been a coming together, learning by doing in quite a tight schedule. We will be now sharing a link to the Padlet. So not yet there, Susanna, please go to this slide. Yes. So, but I just remind colleagues to share the link to the Padlet. So we are very curious to hear about your experience as we go along with our presentation and those 4 examples from 4 different countries. So whether or not you organized a campaign, participate in the photo contest, we would be very curious to hear about your thoughts and ideas. Were they compliments, or you loved it, or you were like, what is this now? Or maybe I would like to learn more about this in the future. So please write your thoughts to the Padlet. But now over to Shireen.
Yes, meanwhile, I have shared the link on the Padlet, and I think it's important at this stage to have a look at what we have been doing. This was really an experiment, and I think this is also where it proves very important to have this kind of network, like the European Network of Focal Points, because this is a level where we can collaborate to do important new things together in a shared way. And of course, then you always need a group of people and organizations that says, okay, we will lead this kind of work, and everyone who wishes can join and jump in. So the initiative itself has been supported by, of course, the Wikimedia Foundation, as Lena mentioned. Also, the European Heritage Days was very enthusiastic, as they were also focusing on the topic of living heritage to the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the UNESCO 2003 Convention. And then from several countries, we have been pulling together energy and time to make it work. My own NGO workshop, Intangible Heritage, from Flanders was there, but also the Flemish Commission for UNESCO in Belgium has been supporting financially to make it possible. There was a Quebec Council for Living Heritage and the colleagues in Canada that have been doing a lot. Of course, also Lena, Lena's organization and country, the Finnish Heritage Agency, the Dutch colleagues with the Dutch Center for Intangible Heritage, and the Federal Office of Culture.
From Switzerland.
From Switzerland, sorry. And then ourselves as European Network have been like initiating party together with Avoine Glam, and we have Susanna who will be speaking. But from the start, we really wished it to be not a European initiative, but like a global initiative as much as we could do it, but we could use the capacities that were available in Europe to get it started. And then there were many organizers around the world, and Susanna will be explaining with a whole series of examples, focal points, Wikimedia affiliates, NGOs, the European Heritage Days, as has been said, a huge number of volunteers, speakers, and of course, photographers. So it's a big thank you, because I think it's really through this joint efforts that we have been able to make it possible. And if we are here today, it's also to see, okay, what did it bring us? What did we learn from this? And what are possible prospects for the future? You can go to the next slide. Yes, this working together, it speaks already from what I have been telling, has been crucial, and that's also why within the project there has now been made a contact page. The link is there. We can maybe also put it in the chat later on. where it is possible now for the contacts that could be shared openly, keeping into account the privacy regulations and so on. So the ones that could be put openly, we have put them there so that you can easily reach out to other people and organizations through this forum that has been created in the digital environment of Wikilove's Living Heritage. And then I think we go back to Lena.
Yes, so one of the high points and most wonderful things along the year was to open the theme of intangible cultural heritage to Wikimedia communities from all over the world. And their biggest annual event took place in Singapore, Wikimania, maybe in August or that time of the year, which gathered around 2,000 participants from all over the world. And Singapore also organized their own photo contests as part of the campaign. They got over 2,000 photographs. It's magnificent. And we are also sharing with you the link so you can find to all those country pages. A keynote in the beginning of Wikimania was given by our dear colleague Kirksi Anjeo, and also Susanna Ones right after her. So we really got wonderful visibility about intangible heritage among the Wiki communities, which I think was really wonderful. I know how keen they've been working on monuments and other kinds of heritage already before. So I think it was a very, very good opportunity for us all. In the next slide, Susanna, yes, of course, the European photo contest. So thank you dearly to all of those many countries from Europe who participated. So we wanted to create the Wiki Loves Safeguarding Living Heritage contest. So we would have one fairly easy or fairly possible way and concrete way to participate in the campaign. And we got around 1,700 photos from across Europe. So a joint effort of the European focal points, but then also with the European Heritage Days coordinators. It's a great initiative by Council of Europe. In some countries, it's already really nice and active cooperation between us, focal points or coordinators, but not in everyone. So we hope this has opened some avenues. The winning photographs you will see here from Germany, Austria, and Finland. But we will share the link to all those country pages, and these are open photos for you to share. Susanna, we give the floor to you, and sorry to be so lengthy again.
So hello, and a big thank you for my part, for everyone participating and being there, supporting, even if you have not been able to jump in and join the activities during the festive year. But I think this has opened opportunities for collaborating locally with the Wikimedia community for the future as well. So I'm just going to run through some of the aspects, and there may be something that is more unfamiliar to you, and then it's good to add that in the Padlet, right? I guess Jorain and Lena, right? If there are questions, so they would be added there. So this is to mention that, well, these are our social media posts, and to talk about the variety of different kinds of activities that took place in different places. These are not only local events, these ones that are now in this slide, but that to mention that they're like across the world in different countries, different types of activities. We also produced as one part of there's this web page, maybe to start with the pages on Wikimedia Meta. I'm quite sure that most of you have seen them, but part of them, I'm starting maybe not from the most important, but still a very, very important part of them are the best practices and learning materials that this has produced. So we have created these activities that produce materials, and then we bring these materials to this online space and show it, and then spark new activities. And then when we make ideas, we share them. When we create things, we share them. And then when after we have done these activities, we report about them so that we can learn from them. So that is the, let's say, the big picture of this. One maybe central part of this from the Wikimedia point of view could be that we are bringing data about living heritage to these Wikimedia projects so that they can, in a way, propagate more information. The data from the inventories, each of the focal points are caring for, they are brought into, well, we were able to bring a certain amount of data from these inventories during the year, but they then start to live and be connected to other existing information in the Wikimedia projects. And we have tried to make this these guidelines to make it easier for everyone to process on this track and bring their living heritage to Wikimedia projects. So once they have been added there, this is one example of a page where an inventory's content is displayed. This is Indonesia. This is actually, well, I'm not sure if this is the, well, there are two pages. There are country pages, and then there are inventory pages, and then these same elements could appear on both. And I'm not sure which one this is, but it doesn't matter. But as you can see, the wiki data is multilingual, and the web page can display the data in all of the languages that there are in Wikimedia projects, and they are, well, Wikipedias exist in around like over 300 languages, but the data can be added, and so these pages can be displayed in over 700 languages. So I think it's very much covering maybe most of the active languages that are needed. And these are also actionable. As you can see, you can click on a link and then upload an image about that specific heritage element, and going to another Wikimedia project, adding it there, and then it's becoming linked to all the other information. So there are these data elements, then there are these images, and then there are Wikipedia articles, and they are all linked with each other. And so you can see that we brought data from 117 inventories into Wikidata during this project from 32 countries. And they represent 5,500 heritage elements. Some of them existed already on Wikidata, and some of them were new. And so, but the new ones were kind of matched with the existing ones. And of course, there could be, for example, mistakes in that process. But what this boils down to is that they link to 25,000 Wikipedia articles, which means that each article, each item, heritage element, data item, can link to maybe, could be 20 or 1 or 20 or maybe, 50 different Wikipedia articles in different languages. So they also link between these translations. So this is just to maybe give you an impression of the data. So there is data of each. The heritage elements on Wikidata, they represent, let's say, the real world phenomena. And they are like the Turkish coffee in this case. So there are different data about it that is linked to this data. And being included in one of the inventories is one of those properties attached to an element. So we need some kind of guidelines how this is done, and this is part of the work that we did.
2 minutes.
Okay, I have only 30 seconds in my watch. Thank you. So one very, very important aspect is, of course, the ethical sharing questions, and we did many activities in that front. So we arranged the Ethics of Open Sharing webinar together with the Creative Commons working group, and together with them we produced the the playing cards for ethics of open sharing. We ran a workshop with local contexts who do the traditional knowledge labels at a hackathon in Switzerland, and we also then started to create this how to mark if a consent is given for an image to be uploaded to Wikimedia Commons. So like permission, how to say that a permission has been granted for images. So we started these activities, these methods, but we need to work further on them. And about this learning, which was mentioned earlier, like sharing knowledge in different documents, we also arranged 2 events where this Wikimedia learning, how would a program, let's say, Let's Connect program, the Wikimedians were learning what this project is about and how they can contribute. And so here we are. I think I'm giving it back to Lena, who is just running away. Well, I will just briefly explain that we hope to arrange an event, a webinar, where we want to learn from the experiences of both the ICH partners as well as then the Wikimedia affiliates. And Lena, I hope you can talk more about this. Thank you so much for my part. Heartfelt thank you for all of you.
Heartfelt thank you to Susanna. We've been so privileged, you as a professional, really hardworking Wikimedian, that you have turned your gaze into living heritage and have been supporting. You've really been working hard. And though the Wiki Loves Living Heritage campaign took place in 2023, so it has ended as such, this is just the door opener. The snowball is now rolling. So this kind of cooperation will continue. And all of you who got excited about this and are like, sorry, we didn't have the time last year, you might do something this year or the coming. So Susanna is there for you to ask advice or to help with connections. But now we go forward in the program, and I have asked colleagues to give brief presentation just for 5 minutes, what happened in their own country. So Tallinn Jojo from Germany, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tallinn Jojo, and I work in the Department of Intangible Cultural Heritage at the German Commission for UNESCO. And thanks to the steering committee for the invitation and for the wonderful organization and for your work. So 2023 marked a special year for living heritage here in Germany, because not only did we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the convention, but also the 10th anniversary of the convention's implementation here in Germany. And so we saw this as a great opportunity to make ICH more visible and to promote it further in Germany and to take part in the European-wide photo contest, Wiki Loves Safeguarding Heritage in Europe. In this regard, we got together with Wikimedia Germany, and we collectively looked at the German nationwide inventory of ICH on MetaWiki. And as these national inventories on MetaWiki served as the basis for the photo contest. And a lot of work was already put into the inventories on MetaWiki, and some ICH elements had already been entered. In the inventory, but the majority of the elements were still missing. And so it was important to us that all the bearers and all the practitioners, as well as interested people, could partake in the competition, in the contest. And so we started adding the missing elements on the inventory on MetaWiki. And this took a while, since some new elements were added in the nationwide inventory in Germany in 2023. So we had to put these new elements too. And afterwards, we sent a mail to ICH network, and we published an announcement to draw attention to the competition. And the participation was high, even though we didn't have 2,000 photos like in Singapore, but we had over 200 photos submitted. which we were very happy about. And here in the office of ICH at the German Commission for UNESCO, we developed a catalog of criteria based on which the photos were evaluated. And so we evaluated the photos together with Wiki Germany in the form of a point system to also include an external perspective on ICH. And the 5 photos that made it to the final selection, they were sent to the jury, and the themes of these photos centered around festivities, performing arts, and traditional craftsmanship. So we were pleasantly surprised that a photo from Germany took 2nd place in the competition, in the contest. And we would like to hopefully continue this project if the opportunity arises in the future. For example, in the form of a photo book with all the submitted photos from Germany. Furthermore, we were invited by Wikimedia Germany to a GLAM digital event on cemetery culture, which was which is listed in the nationwide inventory since 2020. And we asked to give a short presentation on ICH. And the event offered the opportunity to get closer to people from the field of cemetery culture, from the Wikimedia community, and also from representatives of heritage during a virtual visit, and also to draw attention to possible cooperation within the Wikipedia project. And at the invitation of the Wikimedia Germany, we also took part in the WikiCon 2023 in Austria, and we gave a short presentation together with the Austrian Commission for UNESCO, which had the lead on the UNESCO side in this regard. And the aim was to inform the Wiki community about ICH and also to discuss aspects for further collaboration. But I assume Katharina will probably report on this in more detail in a moment. So we are currently still in contact with the Wikimedia Germany, and there's also some potential for future collaboration. So for us, participating in the Wikimedia, in the Wiki campaign, not only led to support the visibility of ICH, but also led to new cooperation partners and future cooperation with Wikimedia Germany and the Wiki community. Yes, that's it from our side.
Thank you so much. All wonderfully explained in 4 minutes. Really nice to hear about the connection with putting the inventory in the Wikidata and how you have made it sort of a nice holistic thing, how you worked on it. And really to remind that there are those country pages now for all of your countries. So if you get excited about this and you want to work on this, Susanna has really laid the basis to make this possible for all of the countries. But we go forward. So thank you, Tolin, and congratulations to Germany once more. And then we ask Austria to step in. Katharina Spanlang, please.
Yeah, thank you. Hello from Austria, from Vienna. So also like I just started last autumn, so I will give a brief overview about the campaign, but the main work was done actually by my colleagues that worked before me on this project. And so they started with contacting our partners from Wikimedia, and what was really great and what is still existing is the contact to them, like to Raimund Liebert from the Wikimedia community. And also what I heard from them, the communications were really great, and that helped a lot to reach out to the community. And that is something that worked extremely well. We got for this photo contest that also Tolin already said and explained, we got more than 800 photos. And also the winning photo came from Austria, and we were like super happy and surprised. So it was great. And also it was from all over Austria, because very often then it is like maybe a focus like just in one part of Austria, but what we saw that the participation came from all over Austria, but was great. And also in the on the topic of the democratization of knowledge and so on, which is like a huge topic, which in Wikipedia and Wikimedia, it was great to see also. further, we also had a glam tour. So I think there was like quite some similarities with Germany. It was also on cemetery cultures, like there where a lot of people also participated. So there was a lot of response on this level. And also we updated the inventory. Like since 2010, we have the intangible cultural heritage in Austria ratified, and since then the list started, and many things were not up to date. So we had the chance also to look into that, which was great also because, as we all know, many people use Wikipedia before they go to the UNESCO webpage. So it was great to also have a look into this and to update. And also some were not described so far. So those now are also on the Wikipedia page. So it's a full list and with updated versions. So it's very I think it was a very good and very fast process. Also, this is what I experienced with Freimund as well. Also, we are very glad to continue the collaboration with Wikimedia. We are now working with Wikimedia and Kulturpool, like Cultural Pool, which is a digitalization project in Austria, where they started to get the, how do you say it, like the stock of the museums into the digital world, but now they also want to get the intangible cultural heritage into the digital world. So we now start the prototype kind of together with Wikimedia. And we'll keep you updated about the process. It's very interesting because a lot of questions occur on this, and it's like we learn a lot from this Wikimedia and Wikipedia cooperation, and now continue with the Kulturpool. And last autumn, there was the Wikicon. Tulin also already talked shortly about it, which was happening in Linz, and there were like a lot of people on site, but also online there. A huge Wikipedia community from mainly German-speaking countries, but also from all over Europe. And it was great because we could introduce the UNESCO and also the work of UNESCO, and and we could directly engage with the people, which was great because very often we think, that is actually common sense, but it's not. And on the other hand, people think, oh my God, like UNESCO people are so far away, like can we talk to them? So it was like a nice experience of directly getting in touch, and also like seeing that the worlds are not that far away actually, and we can also continue the collaborations on a really great eye level also, and not on a top-down level from any side. Yeah, that was a short insight into the Austrian, like what's happening in Austria.
Thank you so much, Katarina, and really nice to hear also this part of the work, that there's so much going on in the museum field already in many countries in relation to the wiki community. So I think it's so important that we get ICH to be part of those processes that often are about museums or places or cultural environments, but with this kind of process, we can swim into those processes as well. Excuse me for having a guitar lesson behind me. I don't know if you hear it that way. I have some loud guitar music playing here because of my son's guitar lesson, but that's live. We continue to Armenia, so Naira Kilichian, please. Naira, you're still muted. It seems your mic, now it's open.
Yes, I am here. Dear colleagues, thank you very much for this opportunity to present the activity of Armenia in frame of WikiLove's Living Heritage campaign. The Ministry of Education, Science, Culture and Sport of Armenia, along with the Hovhannes Sharambeyan
Naira seems to have a technical issue.
Oh, let's see just for a while if we get her back.
And otherwise, the next speaker can maybe jump in first.
Yes. Sophie, maybe you get ready.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I think you can hear me. I am Sophie Meulaert from Department of Culture, so the Flemish Ministry of Culture, and I work as the focal point for Flanders.
Sorry, is disconnected, I think.
Naira, would you mind we take Sophie here in between, so you come after Sophie? Is it okay?
Okay.
Yes, thanks.
Because it disconnected. That's why I interrupt my speech.
Okay, sorry. We took Sophie here in between, so we'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Wiki loves living heritage in Flanders. I will be giving you this short overview, but in fact, it was Workshop Intangible Heritage that did most of the work. So I prepared this little talk of today together with Sophie Veramme from Workshop Intangible Heritage, but she couldn't attend today, so I will be telling you some more. The campaign in Flanders was in fact contained 3 layers. So we had the data ingest of our elements on the inventory list. We had the photo contest, Wiki Loves Heritage, and we had several photo contests, in fact. So there was Wiki Loves Heritage in Belgium, Wiki Loves Living Heritage, and then the European one. And then a third part was a Wikipedia writing session we had with the UNESCO elements. The whole campaign was a collaboration between Workshop Intangible Heritage, that did most of the work, as I said, together with Department of Culture, so the Ministry of Culture, the Flemish UNESCO Commission, and Wikimedia Belgium. About the data ingest, that was a cooperation between Workshop Intangible Heritage and the Department of Culture in cooperation with the communities. As the inventory is the responsibility of the Ministry of Culture, of my department, it was the department who contacted all the elements. We sent out a mailing explaining to the communities, giving them an overview of the data we would ingest. And these data were put together by the Department of Culture together with Workshop Intangible Heritage. So in fact, we took quite a lot of time to include the prior and informed consent. So it was a close cooperation, explaining to the communities, asking their agreement, giving them the opportunity to make adjustment to the data, to send in extra photos. We had a very good response. We were very satisfied. We had 75% of our elements who responded, which is good because not with all our initiatives we have the same degree of cooperation. We think that the key to success was the very personal approach we had, the individual mailing, the close contact we had with them, the mailings and the phone calls. But then again, this was also challenging because, well, it's very time intensive. But we do believe that the personal approach had its merits. Also challenging was the fact that the know-how to do this was not there from the beginning, but there the international network and the expertise that was shared helped a lot. And then another challenge we see is the continuity. So we had this push to get all the data connected with Wikidata, the push of last year, but how will we keep this happening? So every 6 months we have new elements coming into our inventory, and we need to find a flow to get all the new ones also connected. So maybe it could be good to have a campaign like every 5 years, so that it does not stop after the campaign we had. Then about the photo contests, that was organized by Workshop Intangible Heritage. 200 photos were received in the Wiki Loves Living Heritage in Belgium campaign. It was a very broad campaign. And then it was the Department of Culture who chose 5 of these photos for the ENFP contest. And well, I like to congratulate the countries with the winning photos. I'm sure all the photos that were sent in were great. A major achievement, we think, with this campaign is the awareness for ICH that it caused. Also, the photos that show the diversity of ICH. It's a true celebration of ICH. Challenging then with the photo contests, we believe is, well, we saw that not all the photos that were sent in were ICH, but that has to do with the fact that you are also, I think, experiencing in many countries that not everyone is aware of the concept of ICH. But well, it also adds to the diversity of things sent in, so that's not always a bad thing. And then also the challenge of the fact that you have like two worlds meeting. You have the wiki world and you have the ICH world. And making both worlds connect can sometimes be a challenge. It was not so easy to get the communities to send in the photos, also for technical reasons. For example, copyright issues, when the copyrights are with a photographer, but not with the one who sends in the picture. It's not always so easy for communities to understand why you also need the copyrights of the photographer or the agreement of the photographer. Communities are generally not so well aware of issues of copyrights. So that had an impact. But Workshop Intangible Heritage really helped to get as many pictures as possible, also helping in the uploading of photos on behalf of communities, describing in detail also what had to be done. So we believe, again, like in the data ingest with the inventories, in that the very personal contacts is a key to success. So in general, we can say for Flanders that the Wiki Loves Living Heritage was a success, celebrating ICH in the anniversary year. It gave us a very valuable photo material, and we could make use of this momentum to connect the inventory to the wiki data. And the international cooperation, especially in the ENFP network, was a key to success for know-how sharing, and we believe that now this is a very good basis for further joint initiatives. For example, as a network working to share experiences on ethical issues, etc. So with the whole campaign, we believe that a very valuable seed has been planted.
Thank you, Sophie, for your kind and wise and fine words. I give now the floor back to Armenia. Naira, I hope we have you now.
Yes. This initiative aimed to to involve people in documenting Armenia's intangible cultural heritage through visual and written content on the Wikipedia platform. It's an impressive rate of participation because it reflects a diverse and inclusive engagement with the initiative. The fact that over 100 photos took part in the photo contest titled Safeguarding Living Heritage demonstrates a broad interest and commitment to documenting and safeguarding intangible cultural heritage. The photo representing Armenian rag waving and its transmission was chosen as the winning entry by the jury among the selected best 5 photos. This recognition highlights the significance of Armenian rag making as a vital part of the cultural heritage, as well as the importance of transmitting this heritage to future generations. The purpose of the editorial competition within the project is indeed to inscribe, distribute, and publicize materials about the ICH of Armenia on Wikipedia. This involves creating and enhancing articles in both Armenian and English. By doing so, the initiative aims to promote awareness raising and participation of Armenia's rich cultural Armenia's rich cultural heritage on a global scale through one of the most essential and accessible used online platform for knowledge dissemination. Wikimedia Armenia organized a one-day course to provide support for volunteers engaged in editing articles and uploading photos related to the project. The course took place at the Hovannes Sharambian Museum of Folk Arts and aimed to enhance the participation skills and knowledge in contributing to the Wikimedia platforms. After the course, participants received certificates of appreciation as recognition for the efforts and contributions to the initiative. This demonstrates commitment to empowering for their efforts and contributes to the initiative. The the first television also, I should remain, the first television channel in Armenia aired a report covering this campaign, providing an overview of the campaign in promoting ICH awareness in Armenia. This report likely highlights the significance of campaign by featuring the course of the campaign and discussing upcoming actions. The television report aimed to inform and engage viewers in supporting the safeguarding of cultural heritage through the digital platforms like Wikimedia. In 2024, Wikimedia Armenia was dedicated the year of safeguarding intangible cultural heritage, emphasizing the importance of safeguarding and promoting Armenia's rich cultural heritage. As part of the initiative, Wikimedia Armenia plans to upload materials including relevant photos and content. Specifically, they aim to document about 90 elements that are inscribed in the National Inventory of Armenia. The concerted effort underscores the organization's commitment to raising awareness and appreciation of Armenia's cultural diversity and heritage. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naira. And if all is well, Lena, I think I have to jump in because there's a lot of music now in your background. Yes, indeed. So thanks a lot to all speakers. It's really great to hear from the different experience that we've had already in Europe. We organized to have at least some very clear cases to share in this group, but as a teaser, because of course there's many more experiences here in the Zoom meeting. And we really hope that some others can spontaneously also share some thoughts or experiences or questions they have after this first year of experience on Wikilove's Living Heritage, or ideas for the future. We have the Padlet, of course, but I first hope to open the floor and see some of you jumping in with some ideas and comments. Anyone? If you can't raise your hand for some reason, you can just open your microphone. I have seen that also in the chat. There were some concerts like Luba, you've been doing also a contest in Slovakia?
Yes, we did. I just didn't want to talk too much about that. I think the pictures are very nice, but I love all the pictures that I've seen in every country. So it shows the richness of ICH. But we are trying also to somehow dedicate more time and cooperate with Wikipedians in Slovakia. That was not so successful, I have to admit, because it was everybody was kind of too busy with other things. So that was not a priority, unfortunately. But as Susanna said, we just started. That means that there's still possibility and opportunity to do that. We had one effort some 7 or 8 years ago already with the Slovak Wikipedians, and there were the colleagues from the Institute of Ethnology and Social Anthropology involved. And it was a kind of activity about let's fix, it was called Let's Fix the Information, because they did a similar project that was called Let's Fix the Information about Cancer. So they used experts in like doctors, medical doctors to fix the information. So Wikipedia gives like informed answers, not only any answers, and we were doing the same with ICH in Slovakia. So that's just a project that we hope to continue, but it's still it's on voluntary basis, and I think that all of us are so overwhelmed with other things that unfortunately this is not a priority now.
Yeah. Does this link to one of the comments in the Padlet that there's actually a lot of comparison with other activities that we're already doing in the context of the convention, and that it might feel like we're doing the same kind of things, so it's difficult to get the energy there. Is that what is behind? I see you nodding. Yes. Yeah. But maybe also what Susanna has shown, that by doing it anyway, you get linked to many other platforms and digital information that is out there, is one of the very strong added values of entering the wiki environment. Actually, for Flanders, at least, this was really like something that we learned through the project, that this brings a whole new world to your ICH, in which sometimes we're more like an island of ICH in the other projects that we're taking. So you can just put them together. Maybe some other ideas or comments from the floor. Lily?
Yeah, hi everyone. I just wanted to say that in France we had a prior experience with the national inventory and Wikipedia. And so we wanted to get involved in the initiative Wiki Loves Living Heritage, but it took us so much time to identify the right person in France and to get a meeting. So we're just now starting to organize for a picture contest. So it's really an inspiration for us to be able to see all the pictures that you had collected through this mechanism. And it's really useful for us because we don't have enough pictures of ICH. And so one of the questions we had was, well, will people understand what is ICH? And we were anxious that they might submit pictures that were not ICH. So we're now studying whether we're going to restrict it to only the national inventory. And I think we're going to do that, because or else we're going to get a lot of things that are not ICH. So I'll keep you posted on what's going on in France, and I'm going to share all the information and the links with the person in France at Wikimedia that takes care of the coordination. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lily. And again, indeed, I think the process has just started, and we will be continuing, all of us, to do this. So it's just wonderful to hear that as well. Also, the question of limiting maybe is even a good thing to start with the inventory. Then you get a good overview of what living heritage is, for sure, and then you can still consider whether or not to open. And it's true, if you have a look at our Flemish collection, we do have a lot of animals, actually. So the living heritage in that sense is already present. So it's surely it is confusing for some. Other comments before we close the floor? Alexander?
Thank you. I'm sure to say that we have started, or we have tried to start our connection with Wikimedia, but it was rather difficult. But in spite of emergencies in Ukraine, we have organized photo contest, but in one only region, Odessa region, very successful, so we can share it in future. Also, during these 2 years, very hard years for Ukraine, we have replenished our inventory in Ukraine with 65 new elements. And now we have more than 90 elements, and we are ready to present them. And also we reconstruct our national inventory. Now we have, it consists of 5 inventories, including inventory for elements in agency, for agent safeguarding, also element of indigenous peoples of Ukraine and some other inventories. So also we shall prepare some article for newsletter as well. And I hope we can join Wikimedia or Wiki Loves ICH in very near future, because now we have some very good circle of people that already on and very inspiring communities, local communities. So it's only we can say that we are ready to join.
Thank you, Alexander, despite the difficult context to share what you're setting up. Susanna, maybe as a final word, do you want to share anything after hearing all the colleagues?
No, I'm just blown away by the positive reactions and experiences, and everything that you've done. So just even though we don't have the program itself doesn't continue, but this year I have dedicated working time for this, so I'm at your disposal, and we are also thinking about the ways in which this could be continued to the future, that there would be support in the years to come as well. But this is like what I will focus on this year, that how do we continue, even if it wasn't me, like us, and so that it will be supported.
Okay, and so for the ones that would be interested to join this exercise on how to continue this experience, there will be another meeting, a global meeting, and we will surely keep you posted on that, so some can join if they would love to. Okay, then I think we can finish this part. We're 3 minutes late, which is quite fine. And we can go to the next chapter of our meeting, and I pass on the word to Joanna.
Yes, thank you, Jorien. And thank you for the very nice sharing of information and projects about this Wiki Loves Living Heritage. And I think in a way it is connected with the topic that we're going to discuss. And now my only task is to introduce to you the speaker, which comes from Sweden, our colleague from Sweden. And the main reason why we invited Maria to jump in is that, as you may know, this discussion about how among the state parties and other actors connected with implementation of the convention, we should do more concrete steps towards the implementation of the Article 18 of the convention. And this happened as part of the long time reflection about the listing mechanisms, which started in 2018 and ended in 2022. And that was the moment when the Kingdom of Sweden stepped in and was the biggest supporter of this discussion on finding solutions, again, for concrete steps towards the full visibility and implementation of this article of the convention. So that's why Maria, representing the Kingdom of Sweden, is here with us. She is senior advisor of intangible cultural heritage at the Institute of Language and Folklore of Sweden. She's responsible for the coordination of the implementation of the convention in Sweden. And she's also an expert in, obviously, living heritage and the connection between tangible and intangible. And she was, I have to say personally, a great guide to us, the experts, at the meeting we had on this topic in April 2023. She was a guide to the beautiful living heritage of Sweden. So Maria, please tell us about the perspective of Sweden on this already done steps towards our goal. Hello.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joanna. Do you all hear me well?
Yeah. It's a bit quiet, but we hear you.
It's a bit quiet. I'll just try to speak louder. I think I have I have the right microphone. I'll just have to speak up then. Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this presentation today and to share with you the first steps on the broader implementation of Article 18. I will share a PowerPoint with you. So just a moment while I put this up.
Great, we can see it.
You'll see it well?
Yes, we do. Thanks.
Great, lovely. Starting off with Article 18, if you don't know it by heart, this is what it looks like. And Article 18 is is mostly connected to the Register of Good Safeguarding Practices. It's really the article that governs the register. So that's what it's mostly connected to, but it actually doesn't mention explicitly the Register of Good Safeguarding Practices. So it's a very kind of open article, an open tool to use to share good safeguarding practices within the framework of the convention. It does say that the committee shall select and promote programs, projects, and activities for the safeguarding of the heritage that best reflect the principles and objectives of this convention. So at the moment, this is mostly done through the register. But as I'm sure you all know, it's been very underused compared to the other listing mechanisms on the within the convention. Right now, it has got 37 programs or practices selected. So it has a lot of potential, this article. And as Joanna mentioned, we had this big global reflection on the listing mechanism that went on through 2018 to 2022. Around the same time in 2018, the Secretariat also launched a global survey that was aimed at finding alternate, lighter ways of sharing safeguarding experiences. So that is sort of setting the background or framework to the upcoming reflection on Article 18. So within this global reflection, the register was an important point of discussion, but it was decided that this was a too broad subject to be a part of the global reflection, that it needed its own separate reflection in order to really explore the entire potential of Article 18 and not only be limited to how the register can be promoted more broadly. So at the 16th session of the Intergovernmental Committee, it was decided to launch a separate reflection, which was financially supported by Sweden, as this the subject of sharing safeguarding experiences, safeguarding practices has been a prioritized area in our engagement with the convention, really from the beginning. So this is the process of the reflection. I could really say that the official start of the reflection was at the 17th session of the Intergovernmental Committee in 2022. We had an expert meeting in April of 2023, followed by an open-ended working group, and the 18th session of the Intergovernmental Committee in the end of last year. And the reflection will end in June, so we only have one step left. I'm going to take you through these different steps so you get to see what's happened on the way. So in April, an expert meeting was held in Stockholm, Sweden, and some of you were there, so I'm sure you can add if I'm missing something. The discussions during this meeting, they were centered on these 3 points that you can see on the screen: improving access to and increasing the visibility of the register, towards the creation of an observatory, in quotation marks, for sharing good safeguarding practices, and any other issues that might come up and that people would feel be relevant. And it's difficult to really sum up all of the discussions during these days because they were very broad. We got a lot of experiences, we got a lot of perspectives. If you're curious of knowing everything that was said, you can find the reports on the convention website. There's a lot to read there. But to mention some of the main points, it was decided that, or it was discussed that there is a need to connect Article 18 better with other international cooperation mechanisms of the convention so that they can kind of lift each other. It was also clearly needed that the criteria of the register to be well, developed, simplified, clarified, maybe I should say. It was discussed that there was a need of finding other ways, alternative ways of identifying good safeguarding practices besides the register. That could be done through the NGO forum, through the periodic reports, etc., etc., etc. Just try to explore other options when identifying good safeguarding practices. And this observatory was also a very important point. It was decided on calling this an online platform rather than an observatory, as this kind of this wording sort of went against the this inclusive way of sharing and collaborating. But it was it was kind of decided that an online platform was really necessary in order to fully implement Article 18, in order to share good safeguarding experiences. And it was also discussed the need of having alternative modalities to implement Article 18 besides the online tools. You could use TV, radio in order to reach communities and practitioners that might not be comfortable using those tools or even have access to them, and many other questions. These discussions were put into a number of recommendations that were then discussed at the open-ended intergovernmental working group in Paris in June of last year. And there weren't really many changes made to the recommendations from the expert meeting. There were some concerns raised on the funding of the online platform, how you would be able to fund this kind of tool, the long term, and whether or not practitioners, communities, etc., really would be interested in using this sort of tool. But other than that, there were no major objections, and the recommendations were then put forward on the 18th session of the committee. And at this point, at the committee meeting, there were also, well, we had the same kind of phase of the funding of the online platform during the committee discussions. However, the Secretariat has presented a funding plan for the first kind of setup of this online platform. In this first version, the online platform would really be I would say, a larger inventory than the register of good safeguarding practices. So it would be more extensive than the register at this point. There's also a need of kind of analyzing and indexing safeguarding practices so that they're easier to find for communities who have a specific safeguarding issue, to kind of find their matching program, practice, etc. And of course also to see if there can be changes made in the periodic reporting system in order to better identify safeguarding practices, and changes to the operational directives in order to reduce the criteria for the register. So these really are the points that will be put forward on the 10th session of the General Assembly next year. And well, yes, at this point, we're really just hoping that it will be a smooth finish to the to this entire reflection. And I should also mention that the online platform, as I said, the first version will be covered by the Intangible Heritage Fund, but the Netherlands has also made a contribution towards the online platform, which is a great contribution. So we're hoping that more countries will contribute to this cause, and that we can continue also to develop this online platform, because I really think that this has a lot of potential also to be a more of an interactive tool in the future. While this first version will be more of this kind of collection of safeguarding practices, there is always the possibility to develop this into more a wider tool with other opportunities for collaboration and for sharing experiences. So that is the process. So fingers crossed for June.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. Indeed, this is a short story, and it's nice to see it unfolded like that, because of course, we all probably follow this important discussion, but it's easier to have it from a colleague's mouth and view. And of course, I fully agree with you about the fact this Article 18 is a great article. It's sometimes an open article, has some ambiguity, as you mentioned, and maybe it's too abstract or too ideal, and we have to support our network and our countries to make something abstract and ideal and great, make it real. So this reality should concern us all. I do think also one of the important things from this discussion would be hopefully this online platform. And I say that especially since a lot of our initiatives could be connected with this using the tool of the digital world and other mass media ways to put in contact communities, experts, people. I think this is very much in line with the objectives of the convention, a more direct and user-friendly engagement in between us, in between people who are the main bearers and practitioners of living heritage. And this is why we discuss this within our network, because we are obviously speakers of these communities, and we can understand how important it is for them to share directly with peers from all over the world their experiences. And the role that we may have is, in a way, as I said, both trying to understand the needs and the possibilities of the communities, and also we can also support our governments to support this initiative. Another thing is that I believe in Europe, this online possibilities are stronger than in other parts of the world. And we have a lot of best practices already in this regard. And I say that looking even in the information that you share share in the newsletter, and that you shared even now. For example, Katarina spoke about the digitization that it's going on in Austria of living heritage information. There is a project in Croatia, academic project that was mentioned by Mirela, and you can see about it in the newsletter. Also projects in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which are also displayed in this newsletter. And not the last, I should mention that Wiki Loves Living Heritage is such a case of how to connect each other using online tools. So I think we have a lot of potential in Europe to show the practices, the prototypes, the possibilities that we have already done, achieved in our communities, in our countries, and maybe support the process also with ideas and with things that actually worked in our case. So that's why I think we are a force, we're a tool for supporting this process in the next years. Keeping in mind that this is going to be a step-by-step approach, which is important because it could be great and huge, but we have to take it slowly. And why not thinking about one of our meetings to be dedicated to the connection between online and the living heritage world. Also, of course, please share information about this topic, about the meeting between the online and living heritage in your countries and your communities. In the newsletter, and obviously now in the discussion that I'm asking you to take part of. And speaking of the newsletter and the tool of sharing information with the newsletter, I have to mention, and I apologize for that, the role that Sophie Muller from Flanders had in our group, a communication group. So thank you very much, Sophie, for being with us and supporting this important service that we want to do for sharing and for collaboration and cooperation. So now, please tell us, what do you think if you heard information about your state part in being engaged in this discussion, being interested to join, and if you are interested and you think it's important and it's a good tool for the future implementation of the convention. Again, you can just take the microphone. Yes, Sophie.
Well, for Flanders, it is important, and we had Mark Jacobs in the expert meetings, so that also shows that it's important for us. We also have in the register, we have 4 practices, so that's on 37 practices, so that's quite a lot.
Oh,
but
it's a good percentage.
Yeah, for a very small region, it's quite substantial. But it's a challenge to actually make it happen. The fact that it's on the register and not on the list, on the representative list, is that you want to be an inspirational example, and it's not easy once it is on the register. So that is a challenge for us. So it is a good thing, we believe, to also look at other ways of sharing the good practices. So a platform could make that happen. Also, we have in Flanders, since a couple of years, we have our own register. So we also have the challenge of the representative list, our inventory, and the register of good safeguarding practices. We also have it on the scale of Flanders. Well, we have, well, it's a good tool, but there's room for improvement. And so also in that respect, it's interesting for us to follow what's happening on the international level at UNESCO with both instruments to see what we can do in Flanders to adjust. And we also share all these, the Minister of Culture puts practices on the register, and he's done, the last time he's done that was end of last year. So we've just communicated about the new practices. We also make them available online. So we also, on the platform that we do together with Workshop Intangible Heritage. So yes, the register is important for Flanders, and we think it's, yeah, well, we're very curious to know what will happen firstly in Paris, and then also afterwards.
Maybe
Yes.
I just quickly jump in, not long, but to join Sophie, but also we engage a lot with sharing online, also in the Flemish context on the website on ICH. And also there it keeps being a challenge because this methodological approach and combining it with the element approach is often confusing for people coming from outside our world. But what I also notice is that actually the ICH communities that are linked to good practices, they are like waiting for ways to engage and share their practices also physically, like we're doing now. And often they are a bit disappointed that this didn't happen after they were selected. So next to the online modalities, I really think there's a lot of chances also to mobilize actually all these energies and these good examples that we have there, and to put people really in contact and let them share among communities and experts.
Yeah, this is great. And indeed, our network could be the first possibility for us, first step towards that. From, and of course, from time to the concrete in from Lithuania. Hilda?
Thank you, Joanna. I also think that it is a very important issue for developing, in general, understanding of ICH also, and on the national level and the international and regional as well. So, for instance, for example, in Lithuania, we have quite recently we included a new category of about, safeguarding practices in our inventory as a separate category. So it's quite recent practice. So we have just a few safeguarding practices which are already inscribed on the national level. But we are very glad that we, for a few years, more than few years, maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 or more, there is another sub-regional portal or website of the Baltic and Nordic safeguarding practices. And I think it's really in that, for example, we have even 5 safeguarding practices which have been published as an article about it. And I think it would be great, I don't know, when thinking about the future of this observatory of UNESCO, maybe somehow to link these data, because it's also a kind of database. So maybe it could be somehow integrated in this UNESCO observatory, because it's a very, very interesting database and data and so thank you for invitation to speak about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Milda. Yeah, that's interesting, and we are very curious probably to see the first technical information that is going to be prepared by the Secretariat, as we heard about it in the Botswana meeting. At least we heard about the prices, the costs for the first step of designing this first prototype of the platform. So yeah, it's to be seen if they can integrate different already existing platforms for sharing ICH. So I think somebody else. Yes. I also want to do some. I apologize for self-promotion. I will put in the chat the result of a project that we had in Romania with partners from Croatia, Cyprus, and Greece. And it's a project that allowed us first to assess the existing tools for digitizing living heritage, and also to think about possibilities in the future. And feel free to get into the website, our website, and download the handbook that we have drafted on this issue. Especially since I'm very happy that, and I couldn't avoid explaining there the examples from Finland, example from France, the national inventories of Finland and France, and others. So yes, I'm very happy to be part of the network, because this allows me also to share the experiences, the great experiences I've learned from you. But please, somebody else.
Anita has a comment. Maybe you want to explain?
Oh, yes. Please, Anita.
Hello to everyone, and greetings from Amsterdam. I'm
Hello.
not in my usual kind of contact at the moment. Do you hear me well?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Oh, great. No, that is just one of the points which was also raised earlier during the Stockholm meeting, for instance. But I think there's a lot of value in what is happening at the local level, regional, national level, including building such registers of good safeguarding practices. And that is why I think there is kind of great potential to see what is happening in different countries in this regard. Milda was just mentioning that Lithuania has launched such a register. Latvia is on its way. It might be coming quite soon as well. And as I see in Flanders and elsewhere, there are these experiences, and I think it could be great to learn from them. So maybe the format is just to decide and how to exchange those experiences. But I think there would be great interest indeed. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, Anita. Thank you very much. It's probably another, we can also think about discussing and sharing good practices about national registers of good safeguarding practices, where they are. And maybe, and I say this from the point of Romania, where we don't have yet a register. So I would be very interested, for example, to find out more details about your protocols and how it works and how you connect and you share information to communities which are interested to join in. Because of course, we know very well it's a great impact that the representative list has. So that's why it's this temptation to disregard other lists of the convention. And yeah, maybe this could be a discussion of the future for you to share these experiences in the countries where there is a register.
Do you think
so, yes,
it would be a good idea to make like
a
simple form with a set of questions where we can already start to have like basic information and then to see how we could continue?
Yes, definitely, for sure. It will be interesting to find out about this. And I was thinking about that even during the Stockholm meeting, when Mark Jacobs was telling us about about the great register of good safeguarding practices in Belgium. Yes, Lena.
Yeah, thank you, Milda, for bringing up the originally Norwegian initiative on the safeguarding practices. We've been following it keenly and also promoting or contributing to it. I was also wondering around sharing good safeguarding practices around different themes, and what we now have been doing in the Living project, Living Heritage and Sustainable Development. We've been working with the theme with 9 dear colleague countries, or 8 besides Finland, so now for 2.5 years. So during this spring, we will launch an online platform where we are collecting good examples or good practices about how to work on sustainability in the scope of living heritage. And we've also been funding 20 different pilot projects which make a part of those good practices. But then also how to, I mean, always when I speak of intangible heritage in a more general level, then I have the crafters in the audience and the nature people or the performing arts, and they're like, yes, this is all interesting, but where can I talk about crafts? So I'm wondering that how could we also better include and then bring together like crafters from different countries. And at least I've been working 10 years for this now. I haven't been able to like connect my crafts people that well with craft people from other countries. Of course, they have their own networks, but in the focus of our convention and with that kind of viewpoint. So I really hope that we could find ways where we could connect those good safeguarding practices and then different domains or then different teams.
Yes, definitely. And we know that, and we are very happy to always find out about great projects that you are doing in the northern dimension. You are a great inspiration for us, so I'm sure. Somebody else? Not. I'm sure we will find other opportunities to talk about these 2 important issues for us: register and the connecting online, the level of our communities. And I will invite for wrapping up this part of our meeting, Ioana Tamas, which is the counselor of the Secretariat which is in charge with the electoral group first one, which is Western Europe. Because of course it's very important for us to know and understand the steps that the Secretariat thinks that we should take further as a group, as the convention in this initiative. So Ioana, do you hear us? Oh, it's Hildegun. Just okay, it's Hildegun. Yes, we hear you, but we just will take one more speaker. Hildegun, please.
Thank you, and sorry for being a bit late with my question, but Norway, and I guess all of you, are now going to report on the 2005 convention. We are dealing with this work. Not me in person, but our entity. And my question is, could we, like in these reports, highlight the work on ICH just to actually bring those two conventions together? And it would be nice in this group to actually talk more about the 2005 convention in the next meeting, to see, to prepare maybe, and to see how we can work on these issues that is raised here and you have talked about. If that could be something that we could talk about for the next meeting, because in Norway we are going to, I think we have to do this work before June or something this year. So it's quite, yeah. So if the next meeting could be like something we could prepare upon on the 2005 convention. And all these inventories and all these questions about safeguarding ICH in, yeah, if that would be something.
Yes, Hildegun, I'm sure it's worth thinking about this. And actually, at the end of the meeting, Lena will take will say us a few words about the next steps, and probably she already noted this interest for next meetings. And I'm sure because we all have to report on the connections and the overlapping between the conventions. So for sure, it's mandatory for us to think through these connections, not just 1972, but also other conventions which could support each other's work. So yes, thank you for the idea. It's well noted. Yeah, Milda?
Yes, I wanted only to ask, because we also are in charge of this reporting process. So I'm just wondering if it's really, because usually we do not report on the ICH in the report about the 2005 convention, because it's like just everything except intangible cultural heritage, which has its own convention to deal. So are you sure really whether we are really much to look around, because it's really about cultural policy, about industries, about not really focused on heritage? I just have some doubts.
Yes,
Sorry.
I'm not sure how to answer. I guess I have to go and get in touch with the focal point in Romania for the 2005 convention. But for sure, we have to report in our periodic reporting about this, about the overlapping. Yes, Anka. This is a short comment because we really have to go to Ioana's presentation. Yes, we don't hear you, Anka. Your microphone is closed. Can you? Okay.
Sorry.
No. Yes.
Thank you. I would like to inform all of you that I'm working in Bosnia and Herzegovina in some difficult conditions, because all strength of all political bodies are about to be part of European Union or not. Nobody take care about traditional culture. Lists are not renewed very long times and so on. So I'm working with the bearers and transmitters of traditional culture and with NGOs. And this platform is a possibility for us to show people what are we doing and to be in contact with all people because we have not rather long time we have not support by our state, and you know that the convention is obligation of the state, not of NGOs, but they have to work with NGOs. So thank you about this platform. This is possibility to us to stay in contact and to wait the time that when the state will remember that they have what to do and so on. Thank you.
Definitely, yes, Anka. This should be an experience that would allow engagement, direct engagement, with the support of governments and beyond the support of governments, for sure. So we hope that this is going to be embodied in the platform that would be created. And now, please, Ioana, sorry for waiting a few minutes more. But we are very happy that we have inputs from our colleagues. So, hello, Ioana.
Good afternoon, everyone. You don't have to apologize. On the contrary, it's such a pleasure to listen to your conversation. It's really inspiring. And I will take a moment before I move to the Article 18 to try to answer the question raised about the periodic reporting. Actually, right before rejoining the 2003 convention, I worked on periodic reporting for the 2005 convention. So reporting on activities related to ICH, it's absolutely fine as long as it addresses the mission and the scope of the 2005 convention. And there are many, many instances where there overlaps. For example, what comes to my mind immediately is, for example, the fashion industry. As it was a recent report published on the topic in Africa. So there are many domains, areas of cultural and creative industries that are nurtured through living heritage practices. So it's please do not hold back from reporting these examples, but do frame them and in a way that the relevance for the culture and creative industries is visible. If it's reported in a purely safeguarding way of ICH, for example, without explaining how it is relevant for the culture and creative industries of that in general or in the region or at the national level or whatever, then it would be a missed opportunity. But please do report. And I would just like to emphasize how important periodic reporting is for all the conventions. And also to share that you probably know, but after the Mondial Food Conference, UNESCO will publish this global report on culture. And in order to nurture with primary data this global report, the periodic reporting mechanism across cultural conventions in the field of culture of UNESCO will be aligned. So at some point in the future, this is foreseen, and we hope that it will be easier for countries to report across the convention and approach culture in a more organic way, let's say. But until that happens, absolutely there are overlaps between conventions, especially 2003 and 2005, and it would be really beautiful and informing and inspiring to see these examples present in the report that you are submitting. Yeah. So I'm glad that the question was raised, actually. Yeah. So now maybe I'll go to Article 18. First of all, again, thank you so much for the invitation to take part in the meeting of the European Network of Focal Points. And because it's the first time that I'm attending your meeting, I will very briefly introduce myself. I'm Ioana, and at the moment I am working for the Secretariat of the 2003 Convention as regional officer for Western Europe and North America. And giving the closing remarks now after Maria and Ioana and your exchanges is not a very easy task because many aspects have been already covered. But I would like to maybe focus on two main points. So last year, as you all know, marked the 20th anniversary of the convention, and most of you have organized celebrations in your respective countries. On the anniversary webpage that we put up in place, over 100 events from Europe have been featured so far, which really reflect the engagement and enthusiasm of stakeholders to raise awareness of the importance of intangible cultural heritage safeguarding, which is really the overarching convention's goal. So the anniversary was a historic moment to celebrate, that's clear, but it was also a unique occasion to reflect on what has been achieved and what are the future directions that the convention should take in the upcoming decades. And just to recall, in 20 years of implementation, the convention has significantly broadened the concept of cultural heritage and has achieved one of its major objectives, and that is to raise awareness of the importance of safeguarding living heritage, increasing its visibility at all levels and placing communities at the heart of safeguarding, which was not the case before. While 20 years ago, only a handful of countries had integrated living heritage into their policies, today the convention has become truly a key reference in setting up institutions and implementing public policies and laws, as evidenced precisely through the periodic reports. And despite being one of the youngest UNESCO conventions in the field of culture, somehow the older sister of the 2005 convention, which is really the youngest, we have seen an exceptionally rapid rate of ratification, with now 182nd state parties having ratified, and bringing us close to reaching a universality. And the networks formed around the convention that make up what we call the living heritage family also stand out as a major achievement of the past 20 years. And you, the European network of focal points, are a part of it. It's something that we emphasize every time we have the opportunity. If you haven't done so already, I encourage you to consult two documents that emerged during this important year. One is the Seoul Vision for the Future of Safeguarding Living Heritage for Sustainable Development and Peace, which resulted from the global meeting that was held in Seoul, Republic of Korea, in July last. And the Spirit of Naples, the second document, that was adopted at the Naples Conference on Cultural Heritage in the 21st Century, organized by UNESCO and hosted by Italy in November last. The 20th anniversary also gave a timely opportunity to advance the reflection on a broader implementation of Article 18. Although when the Register of Good Safeguarding Practices was created back in 2009, it was really innovative for a standard-setting instrument like the Convention to consider the listing of sharing good practices. The register, the truth is, has not been able to serve satisfactorily as a source of inspiration for those seeking safeguarding advice. Therefore, the reflection stemmed precisely from this discontent that not enough practices have been collected through the register itself. As it was mentioned, I think Maria already gave the numbers, only 37 out of 730 inscriptions concern the register. That is about 5% of the total number of inscriptions. As one of the outcomes of the global reflection on the listing mechanisms, the new reflection on a broader implementation of Article 18 of the Convention was initiated by the Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage in December 2021, with the support of the Kingdom of Sweden, as a multi-step process. And last year, as Maria mentioned already, two important meetings made progress in this sense. The first meeting of experts organized in Stockholm, Sweden, in April, in which some of you also took part, and the open-ended intergovernmental working group, which met at UNESCO's headquarters in July. And the conversations carried on these two occasions informed the committee's decision in Botswana at the end of the year, in December, on the priorities moving forward. And one of these priorities is really setting up a moderated online platform that would enable the sharing of good safeguarding practices while connecting communities in different parts of the world to exchange and learn from each other's experiences. Essential for the operationalization, it's hard to say it in English, to make the Article 18 operational, let's put it this way. The future platform really opens a window of opportunity to have the Article 18 reach its full potential, and that is to go beyond the register of good safeguarding practices. It is visionary, it is ambitious, but it's a goal that resonates truly with the spirit of the convention, placing the community's needs, experiences, and voices at the center. So consequently, the Secretariat of the Convention will undertake an equally ambitious step-by-step plan to establish this platform. And the first step will be to map and index safeguarding practices from existing resources, such as safeguarding plans of inspired elements, projects that have received international assistance, the Convention's capacity building materials, periodic reports, safeguarding activities of accredited NGOs, work plans, and other sources. In terms of practical considerations, there will be questions to be addressed in terms of the volume, quality, and types of information to be exchanged on this platform, or the ways in which communities will make direct inputs and share information through the platform. At the same time, the information flow will need to be managed, but in a meaningful way. Ethical considerations will be, of course, of utmost importance, drawing on existing frameworks, such as, the ethical principles of safeguarding intangible cultural heritage, as well as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, with special reference to the principle of free, prior, sustained, and informed consent of communities. And to conclude, the work coming up will offer multiple opportunities for collaboration, starting with the mapping and indexing of safeguarding practices. So the Secretariat counts on your valuable support and expertise to achieve this important body of work, which will set the stepping stone for this future platform. And meetings like this one will really prove instrumental in this undertaking. And I'm pleased that I had the opportunity to address you today. And my colleagues and I look forward to continuing our collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ioana. This is great. This is great news that we are really moving in that direction. And thank you to the Secretariat, our friends there, because you are really instrumental for us to be born as a network within periodic reporting training. And also for your continuous support on our work here. So yeah, for sure we are very close to each other in and obviously moving the convention forward in the spirit and the vision of it. So yes, we were very happy to see the next steps. And at the end of our meeting, which is not still the end, Lena is going to talk about the possible next steps of our network. Of course, I'm sure we are very curious to see how we can engage in the future and what are the discussions, what are the important points that we want to share within our network. Please, Lena.
Thank you, Ioana, for moderating this part. So just 5 minutes to go, but before we end, we need to have a look on the future. So 2024. Looking forward for the new adventures. So we have been discussing that our next meeting or next webinar would take place in April or May, and on the theme of the Naples Conference on Cultural Heritage in 21st Century. So it is indeed about the synergies between our convention and then the World Heritage Convention. And I think we're surely going to take note of the comment coming from Hildegund in Norway until 2005, because I think that is something that we are wondering, how could we closer work together with other conventions? Sometimes we're in the same organizations oftentimes we're not, and still we try to find those common points of interest and how we can better work on that. But we will get back to you on the date and program and all that, but that is now on the pipeline. Furthermore, we are really curious to hear about your ideas. What kind of an event, what kind of a webinar do you think would be important and interesting? So now, these last 4 minutes, it's your time to spell it out in the chat that, hey, this is really interesting. We would love to hear more about this. Or even if you're really good at something and keen on something and have been working on some theme, we love to organize events together with different countries. And that's actually the way that we've been working so far as well. So please write your ideas on the chat. I hope that many of us will be joining General Assembly in Paris on the, is it the second week of June? And we are planning to have a real life meeting there. And was it maybe how many years back when we had the previous meeting 2 years ago? Was it already possible to come together? Anyhow, we've had one really nice coffee meeting together with colleagues. So something similar we're planning to take place in Paris. So if you're wondering, should I go or not, here is definitely one more factor to get hooked up with all of us as colleagues. We've been working now for a while as this present steering committee, and I think we also might have a slight need to change or form a decent process for forming the steering committee. So Shireen, I would like to give the word for you to give some thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you. And maybe before I enter into this topic, this also counts for the several subjects that have been raised, like working on the 2005 convention, for example. I think as a steering committee, we're trying to do a lot of things. We're starting everything like a website, the social media, putting these kind of meetings together. But of course, there's a lot of more capacity in this Zoom room now and in the wider network. And I really think, like, for example, if Hildegun thinks it's interesting to start up an initiative on the 2005, we are very much willing to help you get started, but maybe also do things together so that we can have more leverage when we collaborate in these kind of processes as well. So please reach out to us and we will try to see what can be set up, maybe make a call for other colleagues to join and so on. And this also counts for the steering committee itself. So we've been active for 3 years, I think, as a first piloting steering committee. It's very informal until now. I also think that in one of the first meetings, we decided not to get too formal, but to try and see how things could work in this network. We're still in that stage and making progress. Nevertheless, we shouldn't be like a fixed steering committee. And in the next months, we would wish to have a look at this process. How can we maybe keep some experience, but also have some change already? But it's better that we don't do this as a steering committee ourselves. So this is a call. If 1 or 2 or 3 people would be willing to set up such a process to have the organization going to the next phase of a steering committee, please, again, we will send you a follow-up email after this meeting where we will have the several options and questions listed. But it would be very good if at least 1 or 2 people could try to help us, and then maybe we can have a process online and or physical towards the GA to have a look at who would be the next group to lead this networking work that we're doing all together. I think that's it. And then I don't know if Mirella is in the room at this moment to make a nice closing of our session. If not, I hand over to Lena again.
Who will make a nice closing and say warm thank you, kiitos, to all the presenters and speakers and participants. It's always lovely to see you, and I hope we meet soon again. Until then, let's catch up and read, scrutinize the newsletter, and then see and contribute to the next one, so we'll hear more from each other. And warm thank you. Take care and enjoy the winter weather. We're going to have the skiing holiday in Finland next week, so that's what we're going to do.
Lena, sorry for jumping in, but could we make a picture?
Of course, we need to make a picture. Thank you so much for the idea. So everyone who doesn't mind being on social media with a nice smile on their face with a bunch of wonderful colleagues, please open your camera and have a big smile, and I can maybe volunteer to take the photo. 1, 2, 3, go. One page done. Can someone do the second page, or does it look like a different page?
I took as well.
Okay. Maybe then we're good. Thank you, Luba. Okay, thank you so much for coming, and enjoy the afternoon and rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
dear colleagues, steering committee.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for my
Maybe
part.
save the chat,
Bye.
girls.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Dina or